So none of the classical attributes of spycraft, if I can use that term, were present here. This is the most benign form of information gathering. So to characterize it as a spy or Spygate is, of course, part of the narrative. And it's directly antithetical to what I actually said.
At various times, Trump has seemed attracted to conspiracy theories. There's the other segments for working on looseness of the truth and the lies, et cetera, et cetera. But the obsession with conspiracy theories and tall tales, as you say, Joe, dates back for a long time. I think the point right now, though, is that he's using them to a particular kind of political effect.
But Mr. Clapper then went on to say that, to his knowledge, there was no evidence of collusion between members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. We did not conclude any evidence in our report. And when I say our report, that is the NSA, FBI, and CIA, with my office, the Director of National Intelligence, that had any reflection of collusion between the members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. There was no evidence of that in our report. Was Mr. Clapper wrong when he said that?
I think he's right about characterizing the report, which you all have read.
Had any reflection of collusion between members of the Trump campaign and the Russians? There was no evidence of that included in our report.
Have you seen anything, either intelligence briefings, anything to back up any of the accusations that you made?
They have the documentation that they did the hacking.
The hacking.
On the DNC.
Right.
And on some of us, that
But the collusion, though.
No, we have not.
Do you have evidence that there was, in fact, collusion between Trump associates and Russia during the campaign?
Not at this time.
Have you seen anything that suggests any collusion between the Russians and the Trump campaign?
Well, there's an awful lot of smoke there, let's put it that way. People that might have said they were involved, to what extent they were involved, to what extent the president might have known about these people or whatever. There's nothing there from that standpoint that we have seen directly linking our president to any of that.
Did evidence exist of collusion, coordination, conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russian state actors at the time you learned of 2016 efforts?
I don't know whether or not such collusion, that's your term, such collusion existed. I don't know.
The big question, of course, is there any evidence of collusion you have seen yet? Is there?
There is a lot of smoke. We have a smoking gun at this point, but there is a lot of smoke.
Dianne Feinstein has said there's no evidence of collusion. So collusion between whom? Can you tell us that?
I'm not prepared to say that there's proof you could take to a jury, but I can say that there is enough that we ought to be investigating.
At the time you separated from service in January of 2017, had you seen any evidence that Donald Trump or any member of his campaign colluded, conspired, or coordinated with the Russians or anyone else to infiltrate or impact our voter infrastructure?
Not beyond what has been out there open source, and not beyond anything that I'm sure this committee has already seen and heard before directly from the intelligence community.
All right, as we roll along, glad you're with us. 24 now till the top of the hour. 800-941-SEAN is our number if you want to be a part of the program. Yeah, the media hysteria over an issue that's not an issue. A hypothetical that Rudy Giuliani laughed at and said, no, well, that wouldn't take away potential political consequences if the president pardoned himself. It's a non-issue. What is an issue is spying on a campaign. What is an issue are spies within a campaign, and people like Clapper saying, oh, that's a good thing. Okay, we'll put it in Hillary's campaign then. Why wasn't it there? What is a big deal is fixing investigations because you want one candidate to continue the run for the presidency. What is a big deal is lying with propaganda put together through funneled money to a foreign national with Russian lies that even the guy that put it together said, well, I don't know if any of it's true at all. I don't have no idea. But you present it to a court in an application for a FISA warrant, the toughest to get, for the very purpose of what? To spy on another campaign. Paid for, bought and paid for by the candidate of your choosing. And they lied repeatedly to FISA court judges, subsequent applications. Unbelievable times we are living in. We got Shelley is in North Carolina. Shelley, hi, how are you? I'm glad you're on the Sean Hannity Show.
Hey, Sean, pleasure to talk with you. I had two things I wanted to talk about. One of them was the media, and the other thing was the spying. And with the media, what I wanted to say is, you've been so adept at realizing that they've said nothing about what's happening until they've been forced to. Well, this is why I think they're forced to, because they are accomplices. Because they see that the writing is on the wall, and as the examination comes closer and closer to them, I think they're wanting to try to be on the other side of it. Because for the last 3 years, it's hard to tell whether the tail is wagging the dog or the dog is wagging the tail, because it's either the media that is coming up with the narrative and then the politicians jump on it, or it's these liberal politicians that are coming up with the narrative and they're feeding it to the media and making them be the ones that propagate it. So I see, just like I think once you start taking the kingpins down, you're going to see people scattering from Washington. I think it's the same thing with the media. They're no dummies. They know that as soon as this investigation comes closer and closer to them, that they're going to be taken down with it, because they've been in bed with all these deep state operatives that want to destroy our country.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm going to tell you something. It is everything we've said it is, and we now know it. I mean, it's not a matter, and this goes back to my opening monologue today. I mean, I am just absolutely livid. We have the IG report. Oh, but we'll turn it over to the corrupt Department of Justice that's been obstructing and not handing over and ignoring subpoenas of Congress so they can put in their redactions and suggested redactions and suggested changes and softening the blow and timing the release of, the whole thing is just an abuse of power, and it is literally, it is the deep state that is a clear and present danger to this, republic, this constitutional republic that we live under, and dual justice system, and lying to judges, and covering it. I mean, the whole thing is just atrocious to me. And I think the American people seeing it is a good thing. That's the first step towards, hopefully, in the end, fixing it. We're going to have to dig the root out of this, because if you leave these people in power and you allow this to continue, and we don't fix the core of the problem, we're going to have some really big problems down the road, and ultimately our survival is even in jeopardy. Jeff is in, good call, Shelley. Jeff is in Fort Edwards, Wisconsin. Jeff, how are you? Glad you called.
Good afternoon, Sean. It's great to talk to you. Say, I was telling your screener, Trump should come out, Twitter or whatever, and say, you know what, I agree with James Clapper and John Brennan. Having a spy in a presidential candidate in a campaign is a good thing. We are going to put a FBI informant in every Democrat campaign for president in 2020 and watch the liberals' heads explode.
Well, I honestly, if you ever did, and this was the point of Victor Davis, just reverse this. In 2024, Donald Trump finishes his 8 years as president, and a Democratic candidate gets the same treatment by the Trump administration that the Obama administration and all these people in the deep state gave the incoming Trump administration. Tell me, would that ever be tolerated? The answer is no.
Absolutely not. But I'm just saying he should actually offer it, publish it, offer it, and watch them backtrack on that. They'll have to turn around and defend the fact that, no, it's not a good thing.
Well, good point. Really good point. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing to use the powerful tools of intelligence against the American people. It's not a good thing to put spies. All they had to do as it relates to Carter Page was go to Donald Trump and say, we're watching this guy. He's going to Russia to give a commencement speech, and he's associated with your campaign. Donald Trump would have fully cooperated. End of the entire issue. But them throwing spies in the campaign. What did you know about the emails? Nobody knew anything about the emails. That's the point. We do know now that Hillary's server in the mom and pop shop bathroom closet was hacked by, as many as 6 intelligence agencies. Who knows who hacked what, when, and where at this point. And not only that, we've got 250,000 full-time IT people that work for our government. And yet we can't protect United States government secrets. We can't protect, our Defense Department. We can't protect NASA. We can't protect State Department officials from being hacked. At some point, it's not shame on them, it's shame on us. In this day and age, if they don't protect our secrets, That's their job. They know these people are after us. You know, Devin Nunes wrote about it in 2014. Everyone's saying they're shocked that the Russians want to create chaos in our electoral process.